My name is Arief. I'm from Agate, actually. So maybe I will tell a story, our story from bootstrapping into self-proclaimed biggest in the game industry, in Indonesia game industry. So actually, the talk will be like this is like the summary of the talk. So we started back then in April 2009. We bootstrapped. We start with I think a lot of co-founders. It's 18 co-founders. And we start with only like $5 salary per month, everyone. So I know like in Singapore, $5 you could only like survive for one day, and we survive per month with that. And then we also start with like 90 hours work week at that time, and with only like 10,000 US initial capital. And now we already grow, luckily, into 105 crews, operate in 5 cities, 3 cities in Indonesia, Singapore and Malaysia. And we already built like 200 games so far. And we just raised 1 million VC fund like last year. So maybe I will tell you about that journey actually specifically and how we somehow managed to do that. So firstly, maybe I will give some introduction about the business. So we actually have two main business. Let's say it's a corporate business and also the B2C consumer business. The corporate is actually what we call a serious game division, where we build game for corporate, mainly for advertising purpose, training purpose, education purpose. And then we also do entertainment games, obviously. We do games for mobile, web, and also PC. We kind of try everything. And we also do publishing games. So, I will tell you about it later. So maybe I'll start about like how we start the game company. So in 2007, at that time, I was still a student in some college in Indonesia. And I don't know if you're familiar with Indonesia, and during that years, there is not big of a game industry in Indonesia. So if you want to know, like, is there any game developer in Indonesia, there's still like very, very little. And then at that time, we want to start our game development activity. So we do make our first game. It's called Twilight. It's before the movie Twilight comes out. It's kind of like we are very crazy. We plan to build a AAA games. And we do a lot of illegal stuff, I think, at that time. Because we don't have access to a very, very good game engine. So what we do is we find a crack CryEngine 2, and then we kind of like read all the code and then recode it. So yeah, it's, I don't know, it's super illegal, I think. But now it's a free engine. And then obviously the game failed because it was done by like 30 students, and then we invest on the game like 8 months. It totally failed. And after that, we moved to Xbox 360 games. We built like party games. It's just we do games just for fun, and then after that we build like some clones of game. This is some video, I think. Yeah, this is our first game. I think it's very, very. In 2007, we are very, very proud to make this game. Oops, sorry. Yeah, that's just the game. So, and then, so I said, sorry, in 1 April 2009, at that time, most of the students already have to be graduated, and we cannot do just building game for fun. And at that time, we would really want to work in the game industry, but there's no game company that could afford us, like 18 people all together. And then, so we decided to make our own. So that's the basic motivation. We started with 18 co-founders. Because we don't have a lot of money, so we just put all of money, like students' money, like 10,000 US. And then, actually, most of our co-founders consist of very, very nerdy people, like very, very nerd programmers, and then a very, very idealistic artists. So we don't have any people or any co-founder that have a business background. So we did a lot of stupid decisions in the beginning. For example, like we have the money, like 10,000 US. And then after that, we think that if we want to build a game studio, we have to have a very, very good office. So the first thing that we do with that money is we find a very, very big building in our city, and then we rent it. It costs like $8,000 of that building. And actually, that building fits for like 100 people. And then we are very, very optimistic that in 1 year we could grow 100 people. And then that's the first mistake. That's the first mistake that we made. And then that's why we need to, we are forced to pay everyone $5. Actually, it's a very, very stupid decision. And then the second one, why we do the 15 hours per day, actually, we realized that when we start the company, we are we have a very big gap with the mature industry, like for example the Japan industry, the Western industry. We have a very big gap as like developer come from a different country. So the only thing that we can do is to catch up. So we make a rule in the company that everyone has to work like 15 hours per day. We even very proud of it that we make a T-shirt that called like 90 hours per day. Sorry, 90 hours per week. So we work from Monday to Saturday, 15 hours per day. I don't know, it's crazy things to do. And then even at that time, we still open recruitment, and then like 10 people join us with only like $5 salary and $5 salary and 15 hours work hours per day. And they still are with us now. I think at that time we also like do illegal labor law. I think we violate the labor law. So we do a lot of illegal stuff. So yeah, so our first year is we bootstrap with only like $5 payroll. And then at that time, I think the easiest accessible market for us is the Flash game sponsorship market. Because at that time we could build a game and then sell it to the sponsors, and we just try to catch on that market. Our first game is a zombie shooting English. And then actually this is one that I really want to share, that we really realized that in the beginning we don't have any business capability. So what we do at the time is we make a kind of like gamified game internally that everyone has to read one nonfiction book every week. And if they don't, they will be fined $5. So it's the entire salary per month. So that's what we do. Actually, at that time, in the first 6 months, we read a lot of like business books, so we kind of catch up our knowledge in business also like pretty fast, hopefully. So maybe I'll just, and also we developed our first social games at the time. So I'll just show you the first game. Because we are very confident with our technical capability and also art capability. So what we do at the time when we started to build the Flash game is that we just think very simple, that we looking for a very popular mechanic that's out there and then tweak the art and gameplay. And we built a lot of games like that, and all failed. We got no sponsor, and this is the only games that got sponsors. Actually, this is one of our least expected games to get sponsor. So yeah, the art is still old art. So the game is about zombie. The zombie pop up, and the zombie will speak English, and then we need to shoot the zombie that speak bad grammar. I don't know, but this game is the one that sells to the sponsors. So I think I just skip this one. So and then in the second or third year, actually it's so in the second or third year we managed to grow our quality in the Flash game market. I think at that time is the most successful game is get like 10,000 to 20,000 US sponsorship value. When we get to that point, the Flash game market crashed. I don't know if you're familiar with this. Like 2011, the Flash market game crashed, and that's when we able to manage to go to that quality, the market crashed. So that's our first, I don't know what to say, the first external doom. And after that, we managed to move to the serious game outsourcing business, and then we also do outsourcing, console outsourcing. We do everything to survive at that time. This is one of our series game. Actually, the series game business is becoming a very good cash cow for us because, for example, this one, we build advertising games where we just, it's easily competitive running arcade games. But when we put it in the booth, it's very noisy. Like, for example, you imagine there is one booth that's very loud here. Like all the crowd will be attracted there. And we sell this to a bank, and they are selling credit card. And actually their sales increased for 3 times because of these games. Because for example, when the kid is playing the video games, the parent will stay behind, and then the booth girl will, oh, please apply for the credit card. And then, for example, women also play, men also play. And usually when adults play, they are very competitive, so they feel a little bit tired. After they play, they sign for credit card application. But it's a 3-time growth on the application of the credit card. So it's a good business for us. And then after that, we managed to have our first big hit. It's called Football Saga. It's football games. At that time, the social games is still there, like the web-based social game is still popular in Indonesia, and we managed to get a big hit. And after that, we secure our partnership with Square Enix, and then I think 1 or 2 years later, smartphone game boom. So we are also in the wrong place again. It's an old game. So after that, like in our 6th and 7th year, we are in a not a very, very good position. We are in a very, very stagnant position. One of our division, the series game, is growing good, like 2 double digits every year. And then the entertainment game division, because after the web games hit, we are, actually we make a bet on the moving to mobile games, but we are betting on the Java games and J2MA featured phone games. We're working with Nokia closely, and then we try to make a global games for that. We managed to get the good download, but after that, Nokia closed the mobile games division. So again, we are in the wrong place. I think we are in the wrong place a lot of times. So after that, that's why we need to fundraise, because strategically we need to grow. If not, then we will be becoming like a middle player, and we'll be sandwiched by the bottom and the top. And then we also iterate a lot of product and mainly fail. So this is one of our trying iteration, like how to say it, 3D action battle games, but it's also failed. I just want to show that we tried to do like 200 games that we say earlier. I think like half of it not released because of failed iteration. Okay, so maybe I'll share you about the strategy, like what we do to ensure that we still able to grow despite that we make a lot of wrong decisions on the where we need to be. It's mainly that this question, I think, why in the first place? So during our time when we read really a lot of books, one of our most favorite book is the book from Jim Collins. I really recommend you to read that. It's there's 2 books, Built to Last and also Good to Great. It's a very, very good book that remind us when we build an organization or a company, the most important thing is the fundamentals, the why you build the company. And for us, the why is very simple, because it's also the reason why we have like 20 or 30 people that okay to be paid like $5 per month. Mainly because in Indonesia at that time we play a lot of games, even though it's a pirated games. And we feel that we are very, very happy because we are able to play that game. So with our capability to build that game, we just want to make more and more people happier, like the world happier. That's the core mission that why we gather in Agate. And because of the influence of that book, so we also want to be a sustainable and built to last organization. So I think it's make us more conservative on our business decision. But we try to justify ourselves that if we still grow double digit per year, I think it's still okay. I don't know, I need feedback for you. So that's what we are doing actually. I think just this part. And because of that fundamental, we really focus on the core value of the people in the very, very beginning of the building of Agate. And then also we always ask ourselves, like in the game industry that is a very, very like roller coaster market and roller coaster business model, and also the platform is always changing like every 5 years. What is the strategic key to sustainability? So what we do at that time is we download all the annual report of the last 3-year annual report of all the public games, public company in the game industry, and then we study that. Actually, the answer is pretty simple. You just need to build successful IP, and then, or maybe we just build a very, very strong customer base, like Nintendo have, or maybe we just need to have a major stake in platform like Tencent or GDNA. It's a very simple answer, but it's not really easy to execute. So we just decided that we just need to do what we did best, is that we keep our underdog mentality and then just always chasing up. So the chasing up key is very important. Like, I don't know, I think the key point that I want to share here that not many game developer or game company that I know is thinking like this approach, like very, very structural, very, very not business-minded, very, very reason-based structure. So when we decided in 2013, we realized that we need to grow higher. What we do is that we ask some consultant, like business consultant, to help us to build or develop our mid-term strategy. And we also learn from like books like Balance Scorecard from Kappa Norton and Premium Execution. So we built like our strategy like very, very structured. I just put it simple. So in the last 3 years, what we did is these 5. So the first thing is that we believe that for us as a company to grow, we need to actively invest in the ecosystem of Indonesian game industry. So what we do is that we invest on the talent education. So we have a special division that do the academic things, and we work with most of the university, the top university in Indonesia. So we have the first access for the best talent that growth in that year. So before the talents graduate, we just approach it and recruit them with $5 salary. Yeah, so yeah, we invest in talent, and then we also advocate with the government. We founded also the Indonesian Game Association, and also we do a lot of market education initiative. We also, yeah, because in Indonesia, the mindset of the market is still like game is not really positive. So the first one is invest in the ecosystem, because if you want to grow the company, the ecosystem have to be there. If not, it will be very hard for you to grow the company. The second one is engage and nurture your most loyal customer. I think it's pretty obvious for you guys. So for us, like in our games, the football games, we did a lot of like offline community gathering, and because of that, the game sustained for like 4 years, and like the whale average monthly pay is around $2,000. Like monthly, they pay like a lot of money for us. So yeah, it really needs to like nurture all of your customer. And then I think it's pretty obvious, but it's at the time we feel very, very proud of this. And then we also like always put a very, very big expense in the product development. Like in our balance sheet, you could see that we really not maintaining any profit. We just invest everything in product development. And then how to approach the product development is also very, very important. I think you're already like very, very familiar with the term lean startup, but I think in the gaming industry it's already there like for a long time. So yeah, we did that. We have a very, very rigid structure on how to create a lot of games. So before we launch a game, we have to like at least have a 10 prototype first, and then test it, and then becoming like 3 or 4 that we build a more deeper prototype, and then we do a stealth launch. We change the title, launch to the market. I think it's illegal, but it's okay. Change the title, launch to the market, test it with like 400 or 500 people, and then if the metrics is good, then we continue to the soft launch. If the metrics not good, then we improve the game. If we still know how to improve it and not cut. It's a very, very, need to be like cold-hearted decision to cut the game. And then if there's a big failure, like if there is a big failure, for example, you invest a lot in the game and then it's a total failure, I think we need to celebrate. We have a kind of like culture internally that our last game, a very, very big football game also in mobile, is a very big failure. So we spend like 1 day in the company to celebrate that failure and analyze it. Okay, and then this one is also very, very important. We are a very big fan of Kaizen, if you have heard of it. It's an approach in a Japanese company. If I recommend you to read Toyota Way, because in the end, what make a company sustain is the people and the process and the product. The product is the result of the process and the people. So we need to improve always. Do not forget to improve the process. So in some of the operational process, we have one people that really focus to always make sure that there is a process improvement. And in the business process, also there is one people that make sure there is always a management process improvement and execution. And then the last one is the people itself, how to invest the growth of the people. I think yesterday I also talked about this. I think I'll just go for tips. So our human resource system, we are totally copying Microsoft. Our competency development system is like we are making a RPG game where there's a talent map and everyone have a level for every talent. It's very fun to do that. And then I think the most important part is the recruitment and also your first onboarding 90 days. So what we do at that time, until now, our recruitment system is that we make the recruitment very, very layered and very, very hard, so that everybody that enter our company feel that it's very, very hard to enter this. So we have like 20 to 1 comparison on how many people apply, how many people get accepted. And then after that, after they get accepted, we have a 3-month probation period. And there is a few tips on doing the probation, but the first 2 that I really recommend is that the first one is that we always remember our first day to anything, like first day to school, first day to work, and anything. So what we do, it's actually also the best practice in Silicon Valley, is that we script the first day. For example, you build a game for your employee the first day they came to the office. Even like what the receptionist will say to them is scripted. So the whole experience for the first day is all scripted. Even like what I say to them when I kind of like greeting him is also scripted. That's the first one. And then in the last day, on the last month of their probation period, we need to ensure that their personal dream is in line with the company dreams. It also to make sure that they are there for the long run. I hope that's helped. I think, by doing this kind of like 5 strategy, we are managed to grow. So the key point is not about what product that we make, but what organization that we build. I think that's how we try to make a sustainable organization. And I think the next slide is that what's next for us? We actually still do a lot of mid-core free-to-play games. Yeah, this is the failure one. We build football games for mobile. We make it more 3D. Yeah, actually, the failure is that in session time, because previously the web-based game is success because the session time is too long, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But in mobile game, we make it into like 6 to 8 minutes, but still too long. We need to make it 3 minutes, so that's the failure. We also make romance games. This one is soon to be released, a dungeon RPG plus cooking games for everyone, should be. And this one is more like a premium style games. Oh yeah, I think that's it for me. Hope that's shared something to you to learn. Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we are game publishers from Pakistan. We kind of a similar story, but we would like to know that what are the successful games that you have built? You know, a lot of failed games you're mentioning, but what are the successful games?
Okay. So because we have two divisions of business, the series game is always profitable every year. So that makes us run and be able to grow. And they also like try to shift into more product base. You could see it as a more like as a software as a services company. And then in terms of entertainment games, the first hit that we have is the football games. It's called Football Saga. It's only in Indonesia. At that time, we have around 8% average conversion paying rate for the games. Yeah, it's a very, very big hit. Because of that games, we managed to publish a lot of web titles also after that. That's why we could able to secure the partnership with Square Enix also. But after that, we kind of delayed to go to the mobile. So yeah, we are now trying to catch up in the mobile space again. Always in the catch-up position, I think.
Actually, so the zombie game you mentioned earlier, that I want to clarify, that was a grammar-based game?
Yes.
So that seems like a fun way to learn grammar. You mentioned that was a sponsored. You got sponsors for that. Was it like a school or an education site, or who was that, if you can say?
Yeah, actually, it's the one that sponsors is a publisher that publishes zombie MMO games. So it's not really like educated games. But from that games, we get inspired to do education games. And to be honest, it's a lot of money in education space because there's not much people that doing it, and doing it like really, really focused and make it very, very fun games. And now we, I think like this month, also next month, we are launching a Muslim education game for Indonesian market. Indonesian is like 87% Muslim population, and in the game industry in the world, there's not one that focus on the Muslim education content. So yeah, and parents love to pay for education content. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so one last question, Arief. If you had a chance to talk to Arief in 2008 today, what would you tell Arief? What would shorten that learning journey, you think?
With this knowledge, and then I go back to Arief in 2009. That's
2009, sorry.
It's a very hard question because I'm trying not to regret every action that I take. But if I could go back, I will advise Arief 2009 ago to go to the biggest ecosystem in the world, like Silicon Valley, or maybe to go to Europe, and then learn there, or even build the company there. Because the disadvantage that we have being in Indonesia is way greater than the advantage that we have. For example, the market or anything. Yeah. So, and it's still the situation now. We are not able, like, for example, to block the market like China did. So I think it's very, very difficult to really, really grow exponentially if we're not really taking advantage of the market. Yeah, so it's a very, very big challenge. Yeah, maybe I will tell you, go to Silicon Valley first, I think. Yeah.
Okay, well, please put your hands together. A great presentation.